Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here, dropping in. Hope everybody is having a great start to your weekend. It's Friday. Hopefully, everybody is ready to enjoy the weekend. Even if you're working, get excited about the transition and another opportunity coming in the week ahead. Look, I'm not going to be long, but I want to talk to you about something that I share with clients who are going through different transitions with relationships. And when I say with relationships, I'm not only talking about romantic relationships with a mate or a spouse. I'm talking about children and siblings and parents and and all these different things. Friends are a big thing, especially with women. So this isn't a narrow focus, but I want you to understand something. You've got to be able to know when you've experienced a loss, and when you've experienced elevation in peace and stability. Everything that exits your life isn't subtracting from you. Sometimes it's making space for greater things. Sometimes it's allowing you to become. There are times and places and things where people belong. Every friend isn't a confidant. Understand that every friend isn't a confidant. What I mean by that, some friends are simply there because you have a like cause. You are about the same thing at the moment. And when that thing is done or when it's time to move in a different direction, they no longer fit. Some people are there because you're rallying against something. You have an opposing antagonist or something that you are moving against. You have a common enemy, so to speak, and they're there with you until the enemy is conquered. And then there's the commonality that connects you and bonds you is gone. Some people are there with you because they're going to be one of the few people in your life that's going to be there to the end. They're there with you because of you. They're there with you because you connect. They're there with you because you are like-minded. They're there with you because you share the same spirit. Those are the people that are going to ride with you to the end. Those are the people that are going to come in, and despite your shortcomings, despite your humanity, despite your imperfections, despite the fact that you are still in process, they are going to love you and stay with you and work with you and you them. It is a common connectivity of given loyalty that brings you together. Now, there are some people that are going to be in your life, and for whatever reason, they bring with them tension. They bring with them stress. They bring with them drama. They bring with them challenges. And you will, in your own way, try to force things to happen. You will try to make it be better than it is or make it last longer than it should. This person may have come along because you needed somebody to work out with. This person may have came along at a time you needed just to hear the right thing, but you became attached to them. It's your boy, y'all go to the same spots. It's your girl, you go to the same spot. Or he came along and he said the right things at the right time. She came along and it was just everything you always imagined, and now you can't get it out of your head, but the pieces no longer fit. And anybody knows me when it comes to the specific area of marriage, I'm a person that believes in marriage. I believe in covenant. I believe in sticking it out. And that's going to always be my thing. My thing is this, though. In those times where it doesn't work, and whether it's marriage, whether it's friendship, whether you're in an out place with your kids, or you're in an out place with your parents, or you're in an out place with your childhood friend or your bestie or whatever you want to call it. If when they walked away, you looked up and you were in a greater state of peace, you didn't lose them, they lost you. They were literally draining you of something. See, I tell people all the time, when you enter into a relationship, regardless of the type of relationship, you got to understand that there are reciprocals that each person has. Let's just call it a cup. Everybody has a cup. And when you enter a relationship, you should understand that entering in that relationship means that you are going to have to pour into the cup of the other person as a part of the relationship. And what you should be able to reasonably expect is that they are reciprocating. They are what? Pouring into your cup. Now, the best relationships have this balance where it balances out. Now, they're not going to be pouring into your cup equally at the same time that you're pouring into theirs. But when you look at the course of the relationship, you find that they're pouring in roughly around the same thing that you're pouring in. Might not be in the same way. You might be helping them financially. They may be helping you emotionally. They may be helping you with your task, and they may be helping you find this or do that. But you can tell they're invested in your well-being. They're invested in your vision. They're invested in your desires. They're invested in facilitating your ability to create your happiness, because that's your responsibility. But they have a responsibility not to impede upon it, not to constrict it, but to facilitate it through their engagement with you. And you may have been buddies for whatever time, but let me tell you something. When you find that that even if they're pouring, it comes with drama. Even when they're speaking or doing something on your behalf, it comes with some sort of tension. If your spirit starts to become vexed because of the way they handle you, the way they talk to you, the way they treat you, or you're starting to get reports that they're talking behind your back, and now there's this tension. But when they leave you, it's lifted. You didn't lose them, they lost you. And you've got to be content with this. Now, the thing you've got to understand, it's not your job to prove to them that they lost you. It's not your job to sit up and convince them of who you are. Your job is to continue to grow, to continue to be the person you are. And a lot of people will sit up and tell me when we're having this conversation that, well, I don't feel the peace. And a lot of times we've been in a state of contention for so long that when we experience peace, we don't recognize it. We'll even call peace pain because we've become accustomed and addicted to the stress, addicted to the drama, addicted to being pushed away, addicted to being neglected, addicted to being mishandled and mistreated. And so when it's gone and the peace starts to settle and and our body starts to move into a space of homeostasis, we can't even recognize this healthy state because we haven't been in it long enough. This isn't about hating on anybody. This isn't about holding a grudge. That's definitely what it's not about. This is about releasing it, but it's also about understanding. Now, this isn't to release you of any culpability you have in causing someone to walk away. This isn't what this is about. This isn't about blaming everybody for everything. This is about saying you need to know who you are, and you need to understand some of the emotions you are experiencing, and you need to be able to embrace that with an understanding of how things are happening in your world. See, sometimes people walked away because you weren't right. Sometimes people walked away because you weren't treating them well. Sometimes people walked away because your stacked trauma hadn't been dealt with, and now you were traumatizing them. And that's something you need to deal with. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about now is when you treated somebody the way they were supposed to be treated, when you handle them in the right way, and you talk to them with kindness, and you showed up as a friend, as a sibling, as a child, as a parent, as a spouse, or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or whatever the case. And then they still didn't see it, or they still mishandled you, or and they walked away. You didn't lose them, they lost you. If your peace level goes up, you gotta be able to understand and be able to recognize the peace. You would be surprised how many people I run into that come to work with me that are in a state of peace, but they can't even enjoy it because they're still searching for the conflict. They're literally looking for the conflict because their body and their mind and their literally every cell is craving for that feeling. Because when you have conflict, any emotion has a consequence or corresponding body chemistry. There are neurotransmitters, there are hormones, um, there are things that are being released: oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. All these things are being released, and they give different feelings, and the body gets used to it. Well, stress releases cortisol, and adrenaline. And that stress coming from the cortisol coming from the adrenal gland is toxic to the body in long-term extended. It's meant for fight or flight. It's meant something happens, you need to get out of the way. Something happens, you need to defend yourself. Short periods of time, 30 seconds, a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. And then you get to a place of safety and you calm down and your heart rate starts to drop. The adrenaline and the cortisol starts to dissipate in your bloodstream and you come back to a normal state. That's what it's meant for. But you got people out there that's got you in a constant state of fight or flight. Literally, their number pops up on your caller ID and your heart rate starts to beat, but you've gotten used to it. It's what it expects now. So now it's demanding that something like that happen. And you'll meet people, they're not happy if they're not in some kind of conflict. It's because their body is craving it, and literally subconsciously they will do something to create it. You got to stop crashing in order to recreate the drama that you got away from, the hurt that you got away from. You got to stand up. You got to realize that something's in front of you. And even in the sense, in the situation where it may have been you that created the person walking away. So in that instance, there is maybe not peace because you may have lost something worth holding on to. This is the place where you grow up. This is the place where you learn. This is the place where you start to spend time with yourself and God. This is the place where you start to search yourself and you have an introspective examination of who you are and where you are. And you may need to get help. You may need to talk to somebody. You may need to sit down. You may you need to work on you. One of the biggest mistakes I made in parts of my life is walking away from one situation right into another one to keep from being alone. And it wasn't until I stopped and said, I need to be with me for a minute. I need to see what I'm like. And then I need to ask myself based on what I'm like, what I need, and what I want, instead of trying to adjust on the fly. And what happens is you start to realize that's a lot about yourself to love. And you don't have to sell it. You don't have to sell it to somebody. If you don't know what I mean by that is always trying to convince somebody that you deserve them. Always trying to convince somebody that you're the one. Always trying to convince somebody that they should choose you. Always trying to convince somebody you're that fly, you're that person, you're that dude, you're that lady. Always trying to be the person that people look at and like. Once you start to love yourself, you don't need anybody else to like you. Now, when someone else comes along and they're feeling you, they're feeling the you that you can keep and sustain. They're feeling the you that you can wake up and be every morning. They're not feeling that person that you've gone out there and created in order to impress them. They're getting the person that you showed them because you showed them you. You get where I'm going? So in essence, what I'm trying to give you is a circle. Number one is not everybody that left took something from you. Sometimes they left and gave you something. They gave you your peace. They gave you a better future. They gave you a hope. It's not always subtracted. Sometimes they needed to leave so you could be better. And in the cases where the person that left did take something, that you lost something, it was valuable and you let it go, that's okay. You get to rebuild. You get to recreate. The wonderful thing about this beautiful world that we live in is redemptive. If you walk in the space you're supposed to be in, if you have a benevolent heart, if you have a kindness about you, then you will find yourself in spaces where you will be able to redeem what you have lost. It may not be the same person, but it'll be the same level, the same intensity, the same power. It would be the same level of healing. All of these things that you thought you lost, God has a way of restoring them to you, but you got to put yourself in a position to receive it. You got to stop chasing conflict. You got to stop moving around hoping that what broke you comes back. You got to start reminding yourself that inside of you, no matter how beat up you are, no matter how many mistakes you've made, no matter what is going on in the past, there's somebody in front of you that's a part of you, that's a better version of you. You just need to become it. And when you become it, what you become, you attract. I found out that the more I become aware of me, the more I try to be a better version of myself, the more I raise the standards and the expectations on my life, the more I do that, the less I have to critique the people around me. There's something about elevating that filters on your behalf. You stop having to worry about what someone's intentions are. You stop having to worry about, why he rolling up on me. You start to realize that you're attracting people for a reason, and the people you are attracting are attracted to the frequency you're emitting by the gratitude and the love and the anticipation and expectations that are connected with your vision, that is connected to God, that is putting you on a frequency that will literally repel the negative energy of envy, strife, bitterness, all that stuff that can come at you when you're down there chasing conflict. It's okay to be in a space where you can smile, where you can walk in a space and not have trepidation and anxiety. I want to really and truly encourage each and every one of you. Again, what I'm sharing with you isn't an excuse to take a victim mentality. And everybody that's walked out of your life, it was on them. You need to start with looking at you. And you need to be aware of what you need to work on and what you need to become. But you should never sit up and diminish who you are to justify what someone done to you so that you can wallow in it. Let me say that again. What you don't do is diminish who you are so that you could justify them hurting you. So then you can wallow in your misery. See, now you just made yourself a victim. And you can't experience anything of power inside the vacuum of a victim. You got to take power. So even if they were wrong or you were wrong, you got to take power. The right way you take power says it won't happen because I'll be better next time. No, you can't change who somebody else is. You can't change what someone else does. But what you can do is be better so that you think better, so that you make better choices, so that you're in a better space, so that you achieve and experience better. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have through your life people who hurt you, people who mistreat you, people who disrespect you. But what you're going to do is you're going to find that happens less, because as you elevate, you put yourself in a space where the people who are drawn to you feel what you have to offer and come to you to bring something. Sometimes they're going to bring you gratitude. That's all they have. When you bless them with a word, bless them with some guidance, bless them with advice, they're going to bless you with gratitude that is really truly heartfelt, and it's going to feed you. It's going to pour into that cup I was talking about. And that exchange probably won't be a long one. That exchange is probably going to be a very short exchange. You may never see them again, but they poured into your cup. That short relationship had meaning and had purpose. I'm trying to get you to understand that this is a growth process. I stopped seeing people as enemies and wrong. I started seeing people as on journeys. Not everybody on their journey is ready to be in my space. But I need to understand that I'm on a journey too, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not always right. And I need to work on me. I need to be the best version of me every day that I can. I need to be aware of what's demanded of me and what's needed from me by the people that are in my space. And I need to be able to stand up and measure the call. But when I measure the call, I should be able to expect reciprocity. I need to have my cup poured into. And there's nothing wrong with demanding that someone pour into your cup if you're pouring into theirs. Some of you are spent right now because nobody's pouring into your cup. Some of you are drained and overwhelmed because nobody's pouring into your cup. Sadly, somebody watching this video is literally sitting there stressing about how they're going to help somebody who has never helped them. It's time to wake up. It's time to look out there. It's time to see who you are. It's time to be honest with yourself. It's time to be the best version of you. I leave you with that. Now, as I go, I want to remind you to look in the description box of the video, no matter what platform you're on. This thing is streaming multiple platforms, Instagram, no Facebook, multiple pages on Facebook, and several YouTube channels simultaneously. But wherever you're at, look in the description box, and there are a couple of ways that you can benefit. You can either work with me directly. The link is there to find that. And I don't think I have it on there, but if you sign up today, you're going to, yes, in there. You sign up today, you're going to get a free upgrade. So whatever package you choose to work with me, if you sign up today, you get a free upgrade to the next highest package. But you can also choose to take a self-paced course. But what I want to do is I want to get you to shift your thinking, because as the mind goes, so does your life. Change your thinking, change your life. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. These are the things that we have to realize. We're carrying our future in our thinking, but most of us are revisiting old things over and over again. So our thoughts are recycling our reality. And we don't realize that your thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. You can't escape that. You're producing what you think, because what you think is a reflection of what you believe, and what you believe is going to dictate what you expect. What you expect is what you get. God told Moses, go back and tell him, as you have spoken in my hearing, so shall I do to you. Whatever you think is about to happen is about to happen. Whatever you believe is going to happen is going to happen. Whatever's happened in the past is in the past. But now you get to set a new expectation. And that expectation is solely based on what you believe is possible. You can experience love. You can have a great bestie relationship. You can mend relationships with your children. You can do all these different things, but you're going to have to believe, because your belief is going to put inside of you the way you move and the way you operate. And finally, I really cover this in my latest book, which is my 28th book, Healed and Whole. But when you really get to this place of homeostasis, you literally get to a place of autonomous healing. When you get to 460 hertz frequency emission on a consistent basis, where that's where you're emitting your energy, right at about gratitude, which is 500 hertz and higher, but 460 and higher, your body will automatically start genetically responding to that. It will down-regulate disease genes, up-regulate immune genes, and genes that fight sickness. It will produce a more healthy outcome. It will correct your pH. All of these different things from how you think. The power of thought is that powerful. And so I want you to experience that. So look in the description box and make a move. But whatever you do, don't let what has happened in the past drown you. If they left and you found peace, you didn't lose them, they lost you. If they left and they took something with them that was valuable to you, learn from it. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, this will not happen again. I'll be better next time. But whatever it is, don't wallow in it. Walk towards the next version of you, and there's something better waiting there when you get there. On that note, I'm out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I challenge you to do the same thing.